Julia will be speaking on behalf of the class of 2023 and is receiving a Master of Science in Marketing degree. Julia.
Thank you, Dean Triantis, for that wonderful introduction. It's a privilege to be standing here on behalf of my friends and peers at the Johns Hopkins Carey Business School. My name is Julia Pak, and I stand before you today as a proud MS in Marketing graduate. Now, before we start, I just want to take this time to thank you all for coming here today. Whether you're from Baltimore and you call Baltimore home, or you've traveled overseas, this room is full of love and support, and I could even see a few of my friends over there. So thank you all for coming, and it's honestly quite opposite of how I felt in my lonely start here at Carey. It seems like just yesterday, we entered the doors of the school, frantically looking for our classrooms and trying not to be late, and now we're all here knowing exactly where each classroom is, where every vending machine is, and how to time our Starbucks breaks to perfection. And now we successfully completed our coursework, which definitely required a lot of caffeine. When we first came to Carey, I'm sure we all had certain expectations: networking opportunities, academic growth, few friendships, and maybe a bit of fun. But little did we know about the early 8 a.m. classes or the coding languages that would seem like learning an alien world language. There are lots of changes that kept us on our toes, and in these challenging moments, I would often think of a quote that my dad would say to me when I was younger: that change is the only constant in life. I always thought my dad had coined this phrase, but while drafting this speech, I did a little bit of research, and turns out a Greek philosopher may have beaten him to it by about 2,500 years. But hey, it proves the consistency of change throughout humanity, and regardless of time, place, culture, or background. You see, growing up with parents that had ties to the US military and government led us to relocate every 2 to 3 years to a new city, state, or country. I hated leaving my friends, and I would beg my parents to stay, but change was inevitable, and we moved once again. Each time, I dreaded the isolating feeling of leaving my friends and having to move and being the awkward new kid trying to make new friends. Now, despite hating these moves throughout my childhood, last year I found myself back in the winds of change, but this time of my own choosing. When I entered graduate school here at Carey, I felt the familiar feelings of anxiousness about the new environment, as I'm sure most of my peers felt upon arrival. Amid all the nerves and uncertainties, I did have one secret weapon to coping: my mom. I often confided in my mother, who I would call quite frequently during those first few weeks, where she would listen to my anxious thoughts and scattered, endless concerns. She and my whole family acted as a support system for me, encouraging me to let go of my fears and embrace the opportunities of change. So shout out to my mom and all the great listeners out there, because we couldn't have made it here without you. Now, although easier said than done, after those first few weeks, I did everything I could to explore what would be my new normal for the next 12 months. Like many of you, I searched for connections in a variety of places, such as student organization fairs, which led to my position as a director of marketing for Net Impact, leading in student and community-wide events and meeting people all over Hopkins. With my passion for design, I became a consultant for Design for America, where I devised business plans for local startups here in Baltimore. And I was also fortunate enough to be a graduate assistant for the teaching and learning team here at Carey, working closely and collaborating with the faculty. Now, my biggest and most challenging role, however, was being a marketing student. From working in late night study group calls, I'm talking 2 to 3 a.m. trying to perfect our codes, or team projects where we'd strategize for the next new big marketing campaign. These moments of stress led to natural conversations and often even felt like a group therapy session. But it gave me the joy of bonding with my diverse peers, and who knew that the alien languages of coding would be the source of unity and friendship. The friends and peers I met here at Carey granted me a sense of calm and normalcy, becoming one of my new secret weapons. We laughed, we cried, probably took way too many coffee breaks, and in those moments, we found solace in knowing we had each other during the ups and the downs of change. So from nervously entering those doors into Carey and to stand here on behalf of the graduating class today, I want to thank our faculty who assigned us these very challenging yet valuable works, the staff that helped us day in and day out, the friends and family that encouraged us relentlessly, and of course the whole Carey community who allowed us to become the friends and individuals and meet people from all over the world that were once strangers. And now as we take our final steps of our Carey journey, I find myself back in the same position I was often in when I was younger. After all these years, having to move and say goodbye to my friends is still not easy. And I wish I could plead you all to stay, but as my dad would say, change is the only constant in life. And so as we enter our next adventure, let's pursue relentless advancement and continue to build for what's next with unwavering humanity, collaborative leadership, and boundless curiosity, and maybe one less anxious phone call to our friends and family. Thank you and congratulations.